Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Vasyl Shavchenko, former Transportation Minister of Ukraine. Vasyl, it's a pleasure always to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. And the last time we spoke, I can remember I asked you the question, Ukraine was planning an offensive move to recapture one of its major cities. I think it was Bakhmut or something like that. Could you speak on that?
If you want to hear my opinion, I can comment it.
Okay.
First of all, we must understand that Ukraine haven't received from Ramstein allies aircrafts which would allow us to dominate in sky, and because we have received only Soviet type firefighters, which doesn't allow us to dominate and doesn't allow to cover. And I think that our military official consulted with our friends, and instead we were promised to have a lot of ammunition to compensate lack of plane and quality of plane, because Soviet type firefighters has it's fourth generation, but Russia is fighting at the fifth generation. For example, they have missile, new type missile, which allows them to launch their missile, which can shoot over aircraft at the distance about 100 kilometers. Ukraine doesn't have this type of missiles and have to use it only to prevent Russia's drones attack, and to fight with cruise missiles or ballistic missiles. It only purpose. And at the same time, Ukraine forces have been in air defense have been effective lately, and managed to shoot over that night. They managed to eliminate 10 Iran's drones, and every other day Ukraine forces managed to eliminate Russia's storm fighters, which are using by Russia Federation. But to be honest, they are changing their tactics, and they started using against Ukraine forces and battle line bombs, which has flying technology, and it's half tons bombs, and they are launching it from distance far from battle line, and it allows them to eliminate Ukrainian positions. And they announced that they have bigger bombs. They have bombs about 1.5 ton bombs, which can fly about 40 or 50 kilometers. And Ukrainian forces didn't have opportunity to shoot down Russia's aircraft, which were launching these bombs, and didn't have aircraft which would be able to intercept them or to shoot them down. And you can see that they have bad quality this type of equipment, and they lost one of the bombs, and they announced air alert in Russia Federation, and demonstrated that they were taking people from this region, but it was Russia's bomb which exploded at their territory. And they demonstrate that they are investigating it, but nobody believe it, because we know that they are trying to launch a lot of bombs and will live in parallel reality they have created during the last year. And I'd say that a couple days before, Ukraine received Patriot systems from Germany and from Netherlands, and we hope we will be able to defend part of our territory, but to cover Ukraine, according to the Ukrainian president's opinion and the military officials' opinion, needs about 20 this type of systems to cover or to cover main Ukrainian cities. And at the same time, I'd say that we saw that in current days we will see how it will work, and will it allow us to defend our sky, to prevent their domination in the sky. And I think that instead Ukraine forces were promised, better to say, pleaded to supply for Ukraine forces ammunition for artillery, 1 million artillery charges, because for example, at the battle line, according to my friend's opinion who participate in war at the battle line, Russia is shelling our territory a few times more than Ukrainian artillery can answer. But Ukrainian artillery has higher precision charges, and it allow us to eliminate their units or their artillery locations. And because of it, situation is slightly compensated. But to start our offensive operation, we haven't received all ammunition we were promised, and and now the soil at the battle line is wet. And for example, yes, sir.
Sorry for crossing. Who had made a promise to give this equipment that they had not yet supplied? Which country?
It was discussed at the 10 Ramstein meeting, and yesterday we had 11 Ramstein meeting, which confirmed that European country will provide us, but no one knows if or when we will receive this ammunition, because we know that to start offensive operation, Ukrainian forces must dominate and must have opportunity to provide breakthrough Russians position and their fortifications they have built during this time.
So do you think that U.S. and its allies right now, at this critical moment, they are dragging their feet on supplies of equipment needed?
Yes, because to be honest, Russia is using all ammunition which was produced in Soviet Union. It's a lot of ammunition. It's biggest stockpiles of ammunition, and to prevent them or to resist them, we must have, for example, the same volume, or if we have higher technology, we must have this technology. But instead, we have to fight the same type of ammunition, and we know that after they understood that we will liberate all Ukrainian territory, they announced a new draftee campaign. Officially, they informed that they wanted to draft 300 new draftee, but they confirmed that drafted 500,000. And now they announced a new wave, and now they have digitalized their system, and all Russians must immediately go to Russia's forces after email, after information email, and I don't know how will it work, but it will allow them to send next 500,000 soldiers at Ukraine's territory, and they started new plans, or their plans have taken over 3 or 4 time production they could do it before, and they are producing a lot of ammunition and military vehicle and military ammunition, etc. But we know that they are continuing shelling us by Iranian drones. They have received new drones, and now I don't know if its discussion will appear again, but we heard that Iran promised them ballistic missiles. And in exchange, they received Russia's new warplanes, fighter jets, Su-35, and they confirmed it officially. And it means that war will become more heavier and heavier. And we know that our forces are ready to commit offensive operation, but we know that we exist and Ukraine exists because we have army, and there are a lot of Ukrainians have joined to Ukraine army, and now are being drilled in different countries. Thanks all countries where Ukrainian soldiers are drilled, and thanks United States for military support. Last package of support we were promised a few days ago, and we hope we will have opportunity to commit it, but just after we will be ready, and we will be ready to promise that Ukraine army will exist and will allow us to defend country. And we know that our commanders are clever and more educated than, for example, Russians, and they are saving soldiers and trying to use technology, because we know that we are fighting with a country which has gross domestic products 12 or more times bigger than Ukrainians, and we know that they wanted to launch in Ukraine big offensive, and maybe they wanted to move further, for example, to Poland or to Baltic republics or other neighbors. But no one knows. We must remember that they started their conversation about war threatening NATO bloc. They demanded from NATO to withdraw troops as it according to the situation was in 1991, and them they were changing. They were changing their opinion, and as a result, they started this offensive operation against Ukraine. And Ukraine managed to stop them. But what will they do further? No one knows. If they, after this new their so-called digital law, they will receive opportunity to draft 500,000 and maybe million and maybe more soldiers. And we cannot understand exactly China's opinion, because, for example, we were surprised when China's representative commented that current situation in favor of Russia, and it means that China can start support them, because we haven't seen China's support for Russia Federation, but it can happen, because we know that China in exchange is interested in their action, so-called to unite with Taiwan, just to take under control Taiwan Strait, and it's big game, and we must understand. All countries around the world must understand that now we are fighting for all countries' interests. We are fighting for interest for domination of democracy. And we must understand that NATO bloc and European countries haven't been prepared to stop Russia's aggressive army. And now we can see that it's million soldiers, and they are not disturbing, for example, disturbing for them, for example, yesterday I saw information in Ukraine media that Russia's bodyguards refused transporting Russians wounded soldiers to Russia territory, and dozens of them died. It's type of treating to their soldiers. They will continue their game, and they will continue their offensive operation, and we must be ready because of it. Yes, sorry.
Sorry, that's okay. I want to ask this question. I know at one time you asked the United States for long-range missiles. Do Ukraine have an old stockpile of long-range missiles that if they have to resort to using them, that they would?
I cannot say exactly, because it's classified information, but
right,
according to the leaked information which appeared in public, we can see that we managed to defend Ukraine air thanks stockpile we had before. Mm-hmm. And we managed to eliminate more than 300,000 Russia's warplanes, firefighters, and we have managed to shoot down more than 300 Russia's helicopters, and thousands of ballistic cruise missiles, missiles they rebuilt missiles ground air. They rebuilt for ground to ground, and they are shelling Ukrainian cities which are located close to the Ukraine border. And including technology, they started using so-called flying bombs. They will receive new ammunition, and because of it, I think we would like to have discussion about it with partners in the Ramstein meeting framework, because we must understand that. If they change their opinion and they will try new offensive operation in different place, they must have serious blow, and we must understand that they can try to use tactical nuclear weapons. They can use their nuclear weapon from their submarines. They are not predictable in their behavior, and because of it, it's threat for the world, and it's threats for taking under control world, and worse thing that they are together with China. We know that country are blocking all resolution in Security Council, United Nations, and awful things that today Russia is leading in Security Council, United Nations, because we must understand that its main criminal in the world is leading in Security Council of United Nations. All countries must understand it, and we saw that voting in United Nations framework confirmed that most of countries support Ukraine, but current relation in Security Council doesn't allow us to stop Russia's actions against the world, and because of it, I think that meeting Great Seven countries confirmed that they may will impose blocking import to Russia Federation for Russians, and because it's instrument which must be used just to stop before biggest problem in the world, because
sorry, I want to ask this question. I'm a little bit amazed because Russia, there's a lot of folks in Russia who don't want to be in this war. They don't want to get involved and so forth. Now, I heard recently, it was yesterday, I think it was, that one of the air fighters dropped a bomb on their own city in Russia. Do you think that was a mistake, or do you think that was deliberate?
Yes, they dropped this bomb because they don't have high quality equipment. They tried to copy. It's a type of bomb which were promised Ukraine from United States and from our allies in Europe, from Great Britain, and they copied it and immediately started producing and started using it, copying Western technology, and it haven't been checked, and they started it launching from Russia's territory, because we know that before they were launching ballistic missiles from air base, from aircraft above the sea, just if this bomb drop, it will not explode and will not kill or will not eliminate any city or settlements or villages. And because of it, we had a lot of information that this dropped bombs poisoned a lot of animals in this sea, and them. They have run out of these missiles, and they started changing their tactics. For example, these flying bombs must be launched from short distance from Ukraine territory, 40 kilometers, because before we know that before they were launching cruise missiles and ballistic missiles from distance 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers. And now their tactics has changed, and they started launching these flying bombs from short distance and started bombing their own cities, and started warning them that they will launch and will bomb their own cities. But Russians will not react, because we know that Russia doesn't have TV and Russia doesn't have media. I think it's only country you will not have any truth in their information. You will face with mix. If you're reading Russia's news, you are reading mix from lie and a little truth. And it's type of propaganda, and it's only country which has full domination in media, and because of it, they can persuade Russians in any crime, and they can tell them all they want, and Russians will follow them.
So we come to the last few minutes